Emily moved into the old farmhouse on the edge of town to escape the noise of the city. She wanted peace, a quiet place where she could focus on her writing. The house was perfect, with creaky wooden floors, antique furniture, and the faint scent of aged cedar that lingered in the walls. The first night was uneventful, save for the distant hoot of an owl. But on the second night, as she was falling asleep, Emily heard it. A soft, rhythmic tapping coming from inside the walls. "Probably mice," she muttered, pulling the covers over her head. The tapping persisted for hours, faint but deliberate, as if it were spelling out a message she couldn't quite decipher. When morning came, she called an exterminator, but he found no signs of pests. By the fourth night, the tapping turned into whispers. At first, they were incoherent murmurs, like the sound of wind threading through cracks. But soon, Emily could make out words. "Emily, don't leave me." Her breath hitched, and she bolted upright in bed. "Who's there?" she shouted into the empty room. Silence. She didn't sleep that night. By dawn, she had convinced herself it was just her imagination, fueled by too much coffee and too little rest. But the whispers grew bolder. They followed her from room to room, coiling around her like smoke. They spoke of secrets, of suffering, of a name she dared not repeat. Azarel. Curiosity got the better of her. Emily spent the next day scouring the house for clues. In the attic, hidden beneath a loose floorboard, she found an old leather-bound journal. It belonged to a man named Samuel Hart, the house's original owner. The entries were fragmented and erratic, detailing a descent into madness. The demon lives in the walls. It feeds on despair. It whispers promises of power, but it lies. I sealed it in the north wall with blood and prayer. May it never be freed. Emily's stomach churned. The north wall was in her bedroom. That night, the whispers were no longer whispers. They were screams. The walls trembled, and the air turned frigid. A rancid smell filled the room, like rotting meat. "Why won't you answer me, Emily?" the voice bellowed, guttural and inhuman. Trembling, she grabbed the journal and whispered the prayer Samuel had written. The voice laughed, deep and resonant, shaking the house. "Do you think words can stop me?" The north wall split open, and from the darkness emerged a figure cloaked in shadow, its eyes glowing like embers. Its grin stretched impossibly wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth. Emily screamed, but the sound barely escaped her lips before the creature lunged, pinning her to the floor. "Don't you understand?" it hissed. "You brought me here. You read my name. You let me in." She realized too late that she hadn't sealed the demon by reading the prayer. She had freed it. The townsfolk found the farmhouse weeks later, abandoned. The walls were covered in strange symbols, scrawled in what looked like blood. Emily was never found. But sometimes, on quiet nights, people say they hear whispers coming from the empty house, calling for someone new to let them in.